fresh, homemade noodles. They're simple, delicious, and honestly kind of relaxing to make. So grab your rolling pins and let's get started. What you'll need for this, a big bowl, the biggest one you can find in your house. You'll need canned chicken or cooked, your own preference. You'll need 3 of these big chicken broths, 7 eggs, spices of your choosing. For mine, I have salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and Italian seasoning, and at least 1 bag of flour. Today, I'm not gonna have you guys making the full size. We're gonna try a smaller, more personal sized noodle serving. So first, we'll start out. I'll have you crack 3 eggs in your bowl. Here's 1. Here's 2. And 3. After that, you'll get a fork. Mine are in my drawer here. You're going to want to break up all of your egg yolks like this, so they're not the perfect little egg yolk they once were. And then, just like you're making scrambled eggs, you want to whisk it up as good as you can. Here it is. You see it's all this kind of yellowy color. You want to make sure that it's not all separated in different colors. After you finish whisking with your fork, you'll take all of your spices and always measure by heart. I don't like to use any kind of measuring cups or anything like that. I like to just do what feels right. So just get a little bit of everything that you feel like adding. Don't try to overdo it, but if you do, it's okay. It doesn't really matter at this point what your seasoning is like, because it'll kind of cook away in the end. And now, my peppers. All right, and then we'll mix that together just a tad. This is what it's looking like so far. My color is a little bit off. It should be a nice yellowy color, but I added so much pepper into mine. It's a little bit greenish. That's okay. Now, we'll move all of our spices out of the way. We'll get our flour. Mine is in this nice container here, but you can have yours straight out of the bag. I'd start with about a cup of flour and add that in. While I mix this up, I'll tell you about the Guinness World Record for the world's longest noodle. It was made by a group in China, and the noodle turned out to be 66 kilograms worth of pasta. It was 40 kilograms of bread flour and 26.8 liters of water, 0.6 kilograms of salt. It took 17 hours to roll out the dough and cut up the noodle, and 3 hours to measure it all up. Over 400 company staff and guests were invited to eat the noodle on the morning of the 28th of October, 2017, which is now the Double Ninth Festival in China, being the 9th day of the 9th lunar month, in 2017. Now, let's add some more flour. Just a little bit. Speaking of noodles, let's read 10 fun facts about noodles that I've learned. The first noodle was made tens of thousands of years ago in China. It dates all the way back to 2000 BC in China. It was made from a millet, a type of cereal grain. Noodles were actually considered a luxury item at one point. And I'm gonna pause here and grab some milk out of my fridge. Here we'll add in a little bit of milk, just a couple capfuls, just enough. Just 1 capful for now. We can add more later if we need to. This will fix up the taste of your noodle, and it'll help the consistency work a lot better with your flour. So at this point, it's pretty doughy, and the fork isn't really doing much for me anymore. So you'll want to take your hands, we'll throw this in the sink. So now, you just scoop it up with your hands, and you knead it like you're playing with some Play-Doh. Now your hands will start looking a little bit like that. And Miss Rowe will be yelling about her carpet. Add a little bit more flour in there. Another fun fact, Japan actually invented ramen noodles. And the first instant ramen noodle was created in Japan as a way to save on time and dinner for families in poverty. Now, it's a good doughy consistency, so we'll put it back in this bowl. Okay. Here we are. So we're going to take our nice noodle dough. We're going to dump out all of our remaining flour. So we don't have very much. So we're going to kind of coat this around your workspace. So we're just going to work this with our hands today. You just want to stretch it out just like this. Okay. Now that this side is all covered up in flour, we're going to take it and flip. Here it is, all nice and flat. Kind of sprinkle it over. Just kind of flip it back and forth until you're sure that every part of it is flat and there's no extra yellowy bits. So now we're going to get into probably the best part of the process. We're going to take in our little corners here, and we're going to start to fold it in, kind of like we would if you're making homemade cinnamon rolls. So you just roll it up, just like this, very evenly. You want to make sure it stays even. Kind of pack it in, and if you go along as you go, it doesn't happen as much for me because I coat it really good with the flour. You want to make sure you're getting all the yellow pieces covered as you go, because as you kind of roll it up, you start to notice the little ones. So here, I got some yellows. Take a little pinch of flour, pat it on, and roll it up until you're all the way into this dough. Here, we'll get a nice butter knife, and we're going to kind of slice this into thin pieces. You can make it as thin or as thick as you want, but I really recommend going on the thinner side because they do kind of spread out. So let me get a good sized piece and I can show you my example. So this right here, this is a really good thickness. So about like half of your finger. So now we have a little assistant. This is Beckett. And we're to the process now where all of our noodles are all cut up. We just need to roll them out to get our little noodles. So your pile of noodles should be about this tall. Kind of reminds me of a little haystack. In conclusion, you can make homemade noodles at home anytime, any day with ingredients that you probably already have. Enjoy.